And I've got the lovely Jasmine. You first had PT with me, I think it was back in 2017.
Yeah, oh my God.
Was that long ago? But I know you only stayed with me for a couple of months. You struggled with IBS.
Yeah.
And again, I think we kept in touch, didn't we? Because I remember you put out a post, you were really struggling.
Yeah.
I made some comments about what you could do for IBS.
Yeah.
And then not only did you join my amazing gym, but yeah, I think that was you joined after you got in touch with me for nutrition, I think.
Yeah, I did.
Different gym, didn't you? How he came to us.
Yeah, I started in January, like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think I was at the gym.
Yeah.
And I got the nutrition plan.
Yeah. Around there anyway. But you came to me, I think it was June or July last year for a nutrition plan.
Yeah.
Signed you up for 3 months. So yeah, just tell people what made you get in touch with me, and then what kind of problems you were having, because I think it's going to help a lot of people.
Okay, so first of all, the reason I know that I needed to have a nutrition plan was because I was probably in lockdown 1, I was eating 1,000 calories a day.
Damn.
Yeah, and I dropped from 8 stone to 6 stone. I was basically, because I wasn't going to the gym in lockdown 1, I was losing weight. So because I was starving myself, because I was like, well, I'm not going to the gym, so I shouldn't be eating, which is obviously the really, really bad mindset to be in. And I started tracking calories, which again is amazing for some people, but for me, it was the worst mistake I could have done, because if I got even 200 calories close to the calorie I set myself, I would freak out. So I just wasn't eating anything. To be honest, I would skip breakfast, intermittent fasting, and then I would eat a salad for lunch. And then my body was obviously saying to me, "You're hungry," and I was saying to it, "No, you're not. So don't eat anything." So I wouldn't eat anything then until dinner time. And the thought of carbs was like a full-on no-go. I was like, "No, you're not eating carbs. Carbs are what make you put on weight." It's obviously these things like keto and like slimming world and things like that. They're the things that obviously they say to you, like, it's a sin or whatever. So that's the sort of the mindset that I was in, and I'm not sure why, because I've never done keto, I've never done Slimming World or anything like that, but that was obviously the mindset that I got myself in. And then my family was saying to me, like, "You're too small," but I couldn't see it. I couldn't see that I was only tiny. It was only that my friend took a photo of me, and I said to her, I was like, "Is that me?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Am I really that tiny?" And she was like, "Yeah, you really are that tiny." Like, she didn't do it to like freak me out or anything. She was just genuinely taking a photo of me. And I was like, right, okay. And then my family obviously were worried sick, and they were saying to me, like, "Jazz, you need to start eating more." But it doesn't matter how many people tell you to start eating more.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah, you were working out quite a bit as well, weren't you? Because you'd really got into like lifting weights. Yep. Lockdown hit, and you were following, I can never remember her name, but there's quite a lot of people doing her home, Courtney Black.
Yeah.
So was it 1 or 2 workouts you were doing a day of hers?
I was doing 2 workouts a day, and I was making myself go out for a walk.
Yeah, and at that point, were you still limiting your calorie intake as well?
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's only a home workout, it's not making any difference really. And I got absolutely obsessed with how many calories I burned in a session, and I would kick myself if I didn't burn any more than 300 in a session, which obviously is ridiculous because everybody burns different calories.
Yeah,
it was very calorie driven, the workout.
Yeah, I think it's really important. When I do post this, I am going to put in a trigger warning, because a lot of what you talk about, and again, I come from a similar situation, not intentional, but it's not an eating disorder, it's just disordered eating because of the information that we take in and we believe.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like carbs make you fat, I think the industry I'm in, there's a lot of people that kind of make carbs the enemy through lack of understanding and education, but that information gets shared, and then when you follow people like Courtney Black, I don't know what advice she gives out, but I think there's a lot of rules and restrictions around food.
There is, yeah.
And it never takes into account the person. So it's almost like cookie cutter stuff. And then why I don't post too much of this is because people will look at you or myself or another client, and then it's, they'll get in touch with you. What did you do? How did you do it? What did you eat? What calories do you take? Do you know what I mean? What do your meals look like?
Yeah.
And that's something I've always avoided, and I think that's one reason why I've been conscious about putting any content like this out. But people who are naturally lean can also struggle to put on weight, not because they just don't eat enough, but because they, one, don't eat enough consistently. Two, we often get full a lot quicker than most people because we don't eat at regular times in the day. Our stomach's a lot smaller, and our hunger hormones just don't trigger that feeling of, one, hunger, so our appetite's really low, and then fullness, obviously it signals that we're full before we probably had enough calories. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to get that out of the way, because when you approach me, I think you'd slowly increase to like 1,500 calories, because on the first meal plan, I'd set it at your weight, and I think you were something like 45 kilos. Again, I've shared your like meal plan and a little bit of information on the spreadsheet that I use. And a lot of people will go 45 kilos, but you're really petite anyway. You're not tall, you're quite short. You're naturally what we'd call somebody who's lean. And despite like that disordered way of eating and having that excessive control over food, there's got to have been some kind of element of fear, because one of your areas was your tummy. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, but IBS, that's going to cause some kind of fear with foods because it can make you really uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, I was obsessed with abs. I was like, I want abs. I need to have abs. Like, abs are the best thing in the world. And now I'm like, nah, I'd rather have a bum. Get the abs. Bum's
but it's an obsession, isn't it? It's kind of like, we look at somebody and we're like, oh my God, look at them abs. But I think aside from like them looking good, for women especially, it can cause us a lot of problems, because if we're constantly stuck in our stomachs, we're creating a lot of tension in our pelvic area, which isn't healthy for us anyway. I'm not saying I pee when I jump on a trampoline, but
You've had two.
I've had 4 kids. Yeah, no, but it's not an excuse. So again, creating like that, you're holding a muscle. You're creating that tension there, and yes, abs look good, but hopefully you kind of figured out that it was a lot to do with how you hold yourself. Because I think you came into the gym and I said, I'll show you when I see you. Because when we're relaxed, unless you're super lean and you lift quite a fair bit and you've just got that muscle mass because it's got to build, you're not going to have that look that we want to kind of get.
No. Do you know what? I'm so over it though, like the ab side of it now though. Like, I still have definition there, like I'm not saying I don't, but I'm not obsessed with it anymore. And I find now that the days, this is like obviously just personal to me, but the days that I eat quite a bit, like quite a lot, the next day I'm probably more lean than the days that I probably eat a bit less. That's just obviously me, but I notice that in myself, and I'm like, oh, when I'm eating more, it's actually because obviously you need food to grow muscle. So
yeah, on that side, there's so many considerations to take into account, because it's fluid levels as well.
Yeah,
it depends how many carbs you've had. So a lot of, again, we're kind of going off track, but people that do bodybuilding, they tend to look a lot better after they've done their stage comp, because they've then increased the calories, which fills out the muscle, and then they're not like water depleted. So again, that's what gives the muscle the full look and that lean look. So yeah, it's possible that's one reason why we kind of look leaner. There was a point when I was drinking a lot in the summer, training at the training shed, 6 weeks of drinking alcohol every weekend, and I was the leanest I'd ever been, like ripped abs, and I was like, I'm just drinking alcohol all the time, like it works. But again, it dehydrates you, so
you're gonna
making silly mistakes along the way until we kind of educate ourselves. Which I suppose is one reason why you came to me, just to help you with nutrition, because you wanted to build muscle, you wanted to grow that butt, which you fucking did.
We're there now.
I know, it's quite amazing, because you did you shared it on your Insta of what you were like before, and I'll throw that in here when I edit it, but you have grown your ass so much. Like seriously, you don't even look like the same person.
No, I don't.
In it's less than a year, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, it is.
You did the post,
because it was like that. The post was, the first photo was lockdown 1, like the end of lockdown 1 as well, and then obviously the second one was like a couple of weeks ago.
girl had no body.
There's nothing there. She was flat. But it just goes to show, doesn't it, like hard work really does pay off. And I like, the one thing I would say as well is, if anyone's going to do anything, like invest in yourself. Like that, the best thing I ever did was getting that food plan, because I know when you first gave it to me, I looked at it and I was like, God, there's a lot of food on there. I was like, what? Oh gosh. And then, but then it told me, I was like, in my head, I was like, okay, well, you need to eat it, so just get on with it.
Yeah, because originally, because we'd set your calories, and the way I approached it with you was, we needed to make sure you were consistent with eating that 1400, 1500 calories every single day. Because that's one area really lean people can fall off.
Mm-hmm.
There may be a day where we just don't feel hungry at all, so we eat very, very little.
Yeah.
So that was one thing for you. And I think I had to go and change your meal plan, because you were like, oh, that's pretty much what I'm eating already. I was expecting it to be different. And I was like, right, okay, so she wants something different to follow. And then for me, it was like giving you an education of, you can swap these foods on your plan for anything you want. And it was you that prompted me to put the folders together of like the meal ideas for breakfast, snacks, lunch, dinners. So you could literally go in there and pick. So I come from the mentality of, I like to eat the same things all the time, because I haven't got the time or the energy to be cooking up new recipes, faffing around in the kitchen. I just want chicken and mash, or chicken and chips, or rice and curry sauce, or whatever. It's just easy, different meals thrown together. So for me, it was like a learning journey, because I very rarely do nutrition for people, because for me, it's not all about that. And I think a lot of people get put off as well, because it's an education. I have to teach you, because ultimately I want you to understand how the calorie intake works, why you do have to increase depending on your goals. And then that communication as well. It's not just a case of, here's your meal plan, off you go, goodbye, thank you. It was like, check in with me, ask questions. And I think there was quite a lot of back and forth through Messenger.
Well, yeah. Even coming into the gym, I was like, have another question. Yeah. Like, I always used to think, oh, I bet she's going to think, yeah, she's back again. But no, I don't think any question is a stupid question either, because you either know or you don't. Like, I asked you so many questions, and obviously you told me stuff that I didn't even know, and like, it's all just come to me now. Now I understand it a lot more. But no, definitely, I feel like you need to ask questions to know if you're right or not.
Yeah, and it's breaking habits as well, isn't it? It's kind of like, you've got to get out of that negative mindset, because I think one term you used was like, again, everybody uses it, cheat meals, cheat days, good and bad foods. And it's like, it's just food, it's just fuel, make it fit whatever you're doing, make sure you feel good, don't restrict yourself. It's just, if you want it, have it. Don't have any feelings or emotions surrounded by it. And I think that's an area you struggled as well, isn't it? It's like, you'd eat something, regret it. And actually, no, you did. Before you even started, before I gave you the meal plan, you had a binge out. And I told you not to eat everything you had in the house. And you went, oh my God, I've just eaten everything. Now it's done. Now I'm ready to start on Monday. And it's just like, that is just everybody out there.
Monday, mate.
I'm going to start Monday. I'm going to eat everything in the house, because I'm not throwing it away. I'm not giving it away. I'm going to eat it. And I was just like, I'm sure I told you don't do that.
Yeah, you did. You were like, don't do it. And I was like, no, I won't. And the next day I was like, I ate every single bit of chocolate that was actually in my house. Just probably because you said not to. Standard me.
We do, but then it's like, okay, most people will go, I shouldn't have done that. I feel shit. I'm fucking stupid. And then it's like, well, for me, I come from the angle, you're an adult. You chose to eat it. Like, that was your choice. Be responsible, and just, you know what? I'm not going to buy it if I haven't got it. I have to go to the shop and eat it, but I'm not going to feel bad about it. I'm not going to punish myself.
No.
Yeah.
For so long, I didn't buy it, and I was like, no, don't have it. I think with lockdown 1, I was like, I'm not buying it. The thought of a takeaway, absolute no go. But then as time went on, I was like, right, buy it. Just, you don't have to have a whole of it. Just have half. And I'd have half, and I'd leave the other half for another day. Like, I think it is learning those habits as well, isn't it? Like, learning that you can do that. There is like willpower there. If you want to eat it all, then whatever. Like the other day, it was the time of the month, and I was like, I really want a chocolate bar, but I know if I buy a whole chocolate bar, I'm going to eat it. And I thought, do you know what? Whatever. Like, you want it, just eat it. So I just bought a whole chocolate bar and just ate it. But whereas before in lockdown 1, I would have kicked myself, worked out way more after. Next day, I probably would have done 3 workouts in a day.
Wow. And that's that's not healthy either, is it? And it's kind of like, as much as we all kind of say you need to exercise, you know, being overweight's not healthy, being underweight's not healthy, we've got to find that like balance. Are you doing things that you enjoy? How does it make you feel mentally? Because I think that's a massive side of it. If it's going to trigger some bad feelings and like you need to go and work out, or like you know, you're going to purge, so make yourself sick, or just feel miserable because you've just eaten something you don't think you should have, then there's a real danger that you're just creating more undesirable behaviors and you're not learning to kind of cope with them. That's one thing that we didn't do, but it's obviously an area that I'm moving into with some people. But
I also think there's a massive range of knowledge on weight loss and not enough on weight gain, because quite honestly I didn't know where to start. I looked and I tried, but I didn't know where to start. But you have to start with yourself. But since making my fitness account, obviously I don't have it to give people advice, I don't have it for that reason, but the amount of people that have messaged me and said, how have you done it? Like, I'm struggling, I'm really struggling with food, with eating, and I can only give what I've done. And I've said to them, like, look, it might not work for you, but I always say the best thing I ever did was get a nutrition plan, because I learned that I can eat. But it is mad how many people like do struggle with it. You don't realise, because it's all about weight loss, like everywhere.
It is. And to be fair, I know it's in the public eye a lot because it is a major problem, but then you know, that does make us feel like it doesn't matter, because we have to work hard just to increase weight. You know, I sit around 70, 71 kilos, and my goal has always been to get to 75, because for me that's a lot more muscle and it's hard. My body doesn't, you know, it fights, because I struggle to eat 3, 4, 5 meals a day, because eventually I get to the point where I can't physically eat anymore. I cannot chew, because then I've got to swallow, and that just makes me just want to not eat at all. You know, and I'm very good at listening to my body, and a lot of people call it intuitive eating, or, you know, intermittent fasting. I'm not somebody that likes to eat in the morning, because the last thing I want to do when I've woken up is have to eat something that requires me to use energy.
See, that's my favourite thing. Breakfast. Yes, give me it. Give my oats.
Yeah, you like your oats, don't you?
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever get sick of them, ever.
Yeah, but this is where everybody's different, you know. Some people like to do it, but again, it's not going to work for everybody. And it's like, this is why I think it's really important to understand, well, what does your body need, and is it really hungry, or are you just bored or stressed, or just because you're watching a film and cuddling up with your partner, or, you know, had an argument at the boss, whatever. I think it all plays a part. So detaching those feelings from eating food, I think, is one big thing that everybody needs to do. And then, like you said, if people are coming to somebody that isn't a professional or hasn't got the qualifications or experience, then there you can just give that guidance and tell people what you've done. But I think there needs to be that, you know, if you really need help, find somebody.
Find someone to help.
Like, look for somebody who can look at you, look at what you're doing, and then give you advice specifically for you. Because, you know, I think after 2 months, you kind of just, you know, other than us talking in the gym where we were like catching up and you were asking questions, you've pretty much gone off on your own. You've got your own training. No, that's not something you ever got from me. And you're lifting heavy, and that's another thing as well. People being scared, women being scared to lift weights, and yet how are you going to grow muscle without doing it? You know, so get the nutrition sorted, and then lift plus body weight, thrust over your body weight.
See, if I was eating what I was eating in lockdown 1, I wouldn't have been able to lift heavy weights, because I had no energy. Whereas now, like, obviously, I feel like I have to eat to be able to lift. But I think you start with the food, and then everything sort of comes from there. But you can't expect to gain muscle without weight training, can you? So.
And it's there's my dog. It's a long journey as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it's not going. So for you, it's only been a year, about 10 months since you came to see me for the nutrition plan, but you've just been focused on your goal. And I think that's another important thing for people to remember. Sort out what you need to focus on, and then stick to a plan and just keep going.
And do it for you. 100%.
Yeah, do it for you, not for other people.
No, exactly. And you just have to, it is like you say, it's just finding what works for you, because what works for me isn't going to work for everybody, and what works for you is, again, not going to work for everybody.
Mm.
I think once you find a happy medium and you're willing to put the effort and the time in, because I mean, I could have easily just been like, well, I've run out of energy, so I'm not going to work out anymore. But then I was like, no, why am I running out of energy? Because you're not eating enough. So
Yeah. Are you pretty good now at doing that then? When you just feel a little bit fatigued or low, you kind of look at what you can do?
I intuitively eat. However, I do sort of have set times. Not like, I mean, if I get hungry, I'll eat something. But my times kind of stay the same. For me, that works because I know like 1:30's lunchtime, 1:30 to 2's lunchtime, and then so on. For me, that works. And always like 3 o'clock, I have a snack. But that's when I know when I get hungry now. And I think that's like learning when you're getting hungry. But if I am hungry, I will just eat.
Yeah, and that's a massive change for you, because at the beginning you said like if you was hungry you'd ignore it and you'd just like push through and not eat if you're not doing anything. But again, consistency kind of pays off, and it's what we always say, but if you're not going to do the work and do it the same more often than you don't, then you're only letting yourself down, I suppose.
Yeah, you are. And I mean, I was a bit worried what I was going to be like in this lockdown, because obviously I was like, I'll go to the gym. But I've been fine. In fact, this lockdown's probably been a blessing, because I've done so much more research on nutrition, on form, on like workouts. So I feel like I have so much more knowledge that I wouldn't have had before.
Yeah.
And I promised myself that when it got to this lockdown, I was like, you are going to carry on eating the same amount. Like, you don't need to drop the calories. It's fine. Like, you're still working out every day. And I haven't dropped them, and nothing's changed. I look the same. If not, I've got like my bum's got bigger or whatever, but that's literally about it.
Yeah, it's a good thing that you're now educating yourself as well, because again, you kind of know where to look, and it's hopefully you're making like those choices and then just helping yourself, and that's what it's all about. It's get you to where you need to be, and then you've just got to keep going, and it's always going to be a learning journey, isn't it?
It is. And also like not comparing yourself to someone else, like comparing your day 1 to someone else's day 100 or whatever, because I was guilty of doing that. I used to look and be like, why do I not look like that? I do workouts every day.
Yeah, you had a screensaver.
Yeah, I did.
Of somebody's body, because I remember that when you came to me for PT, it's like, I want to look like that.
Yeah.
Just make me
well, that waist.
Make me look like that, and it's like,
make me look like her, mold me. And you've always said to me, you're like, you look like you.
Yeah, you can grow a bum if you do this. But yeah, it's again, we've got to listen to our bodies, and you know, just seeing your journey, it's as amazing as Jamie Lee's. You know, you're both different ends of the spectrum. One was weight loss, one was weight gain, but both of you have had like a complete lifestyle change, which involved your behaviours and just the education side. So
only when you look at it that you think, oh gosh, like I have come quite far.
You have.
Like, yeah, like even Harry now, like you've come so far from like even just a year.
Yeah.
Like,
even that post I shared yesterday of you, like that, you're not the same person at all.
No, I'm not.
But that's it. Somebody would go, oh my God, Jasmine, how did you do that? And it'd be like, well, I've spent the last year sorting myself out and focus on eating better and training harder and increasing the weights each week and just pushing myself.
And also like with workouts, I think my mindset's changed, because I'm not working out now to look a certain way. I'm working out because it's my lifestyle. Like I love doing it. Like I love waking up in the morning and then going to the gym. Only because I can see your face. But yeah, like I think now working out for me, rather than because I want to look like somebody else, is such a big step.
Yeah. And it helps you maintain where you're at now as well. And if you do change, you know, it's all going to slow down at some point, but exercise should be there to maintain where you're at. And if you want to change something, then you've got to switch it up. And I think you know that already.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think that's just testament to you and just doing what you needed to do and then going off on your own and learning as much as you could.
Definitely. Start with number 1.
Yeah, so what advice would you give to other women in your situation, which was also mine, where you're just struggling to put on weight and you're just getting frustrated or you're comparing?
I would say, well, my first thing would say start talking to family and friends, because I avoided that like anything. Like I was like, no, they're telling me to put on weight, I'm going to avoid it. But I actually sat down and spoke to them and said to them, like, I am struggling. That's when obviously Harry said to me, have you considered a food plan? And then I just think the best thing you'll ever do is, if you're struggling to eat, is go to somebody like yourself who's got the knowledge of nutrition, because I think nutrition is the biggest thing. And then just work out what it is that you want from it. Like, do you want to change? Because if not, then like, okay, but you have to want to do it. Like I think I spoke about it every day for about a month until I actually decided, right, just do it. Like, yeah, it's money, it's fine, I'm tight ass. But it's the best thing I ever done.
Well, Jasmine, you do like the finer things in life.
I do.
Priorities.
But just reach out to somebody that you think is capable of helping you, somebody that's got the knowledge, that's got information. Don't just go to somebody on Instagram that you think's got their life together. Like, you need to know that somebody has that knowledge and that they can actually help you, and what they tell you isn't going to be generic of what they've told everybody else. Like, it needs to be like a plan for you, which it was in my case. So I think that's the most important thing. Yeah, just looking after yourself, just making sure.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, I think the only thing I'd add to that is, if you think you may have an eating disorder, then I wouldn't be somebody that would be the person to help you. I can work in conjunction with qualified counsellors and eating disorder therapists, but for me, that's always something I consider when meeting with clients anyway. It's like, really speak to the person, try and figure out what's going on, and then if I think there's something else going on, then it's approach it.
I mean, I did go to a doctor. I did go to the doctor, and they were said you were a bit small, but they weren't hugely worried. So I knew that I didn't have a disorder, and I knew in my head as well that I could change if I really put my mind to it. Yeah. But yeah, I went to the doctor, and obviously that was probably my first step. Yeah.
I wouldn't have worked with you if there was absolutely no way I would have given a meal plan if at one point I would have thought you've got an eating disorder. Yes, there was disordered eating, as I said at the beginning, but that's why it's just really important. Don't just go to somebody that promises to fix you. It's like, there's experienced professionals that do this, and at some point you might need a psychologist as well, but it's just kind of being careful with all that. But yeah, thanks, Jasmine. I can't wait to see you back in the gym. How long we got now? Just under 3 weeks?
Is it just under 3 weeks?
Yeah, I think so. What date are we today? It is the 19th. So yeah, just under 3 weeks. Yeah, because it's the 12th we open, isn't it? So it'll be 3 weeks on Monday.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. Anyway, let's just, fingers crossed, Boris doesn't mess up our plans. But thank you for today. I'm gonna quickly add on your image, and then I'm going to share this to the world.
Amazing. Can't wait to see it.
Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you in the gym. See you later.
Thanks, Eddie. See you later.
Bye.